Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to match number 3, the final match of the set between the Sparks and Minos and the Aux Cords. Winner of this will advance to the next round to play the #1 seed Millionaires. Sparks and Minos were able to take game number 2 with a nail biter of just 2 important matches, one from Rhubarb and then one from the captain Jerpidude, avoiding a sudden death situation. Meanwhile, in match 1, the Aux Cords were able to come out victorious. But now it all relies on this match here. Which of these players is going to try and get into that top 4 and guarantee themselves at least 2 more team matches, or rather team sets for the season? We're about to find out with our first matchup being Rahmations and DMJ. All right, we got it ready from Rahmations. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off and counted down. Here we go, getting started with our first match of today's final team match between these two teams. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. So Rahmations was able to clutch out a decider last time up against Rhubarb. Now this time plays DMJ. Now this is going to be very important. DMJ able to defeat Dan in the previous matchup, and a nail biter that was. In fact, both of these matches between Rahmations and Dan went to a decider, and both DMJ and Rhubarb ended up winning them. Well, not between Rahmations. Rahmations ended up winning that decider, and DMJ ended up winning that decider. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tournament. You know, both of these two players, they're top Ruby going up against each other. And right now we're running into a mild drought over here for Rahmations. DMJ going to have a pretty good opener here so far. Rahmations going to have to take just a little more burns than DMJ currently, but everything is fine. Everything is very stable. But it's going to be a very important match. This sets the stage for the rest of this matchup here. And the Aux Cords have kind of been in a similar position like this last season up against the Grandmasters, needing to win a match and in order to advance. And the Grandmasters, of course, they were the lower seed in that particular matchup last year. So Sparks and Minos, same can be said for them. They're the lower seed. Aux Cords was able to pick their composition early on. So we'll see how much that will impact the final set here. 145,000, make that 168,000 for Rahmations and 163,000 for DMJ. DMJ does have the pace advantage, but it's only slightly, and it looks like now DMJ's kind of running into a minor drought here. Forced to take that double, set up for a Tetris still, 20 pieces and counting. There it is, Tetris for DMJ and a counter Tetris for Rahmations. So both players kind of having to experience with some droughts early on. Didn't reach in the 30s yet, which we all know how Gauntlet is from time to time, and so we can definitely expect to see some unfavorable piece sequences, and that's exactly what we're kind of getting over here for Rahmations. So Rahmations going to have to take a couple of burns. This is an opportunity for DMJ, and DMJ looks like is going to try and capitalize on it. Rahmations needs to be a little bit careful here. Great pieces. The well is open, just waiting on the long bar. Gonna take a triple. Very disciplined play. And there it is. Tetris for Rahmations, 271 to 281. DMJ with a 30,000 point lead. And the way things are going, things are looking pretty stable. Rahmations is up higher, so going to be able to score a couple of Tetrises, or a Tetris or two, or DMJ is able to get one on the board. But as of right now, we're looking at some very strong transitions, potentially a 600k transition for Rahmations, and DMJ is definitely more so in the neighborhood. And wow, a little bit of an S-burst there. Unwanted. But if the pieces fall correctly, there could be an efficient solve over here for DMJ. Fortunately, those pieces didn't fall quite their best. But Rahmations now also finding himself in a little bit of a tricky situation. It's going to cost some burn lines, and trying to minimize how much burn lines it costs, as DMJ is now set up for a column 9. Rahmations would love a T-piece, that I-piece. No, not going to go for it. In fact, just going to burn it out. With that, DMJ knocks down a center row Tetris, cutting the lead down to now only 31,000. There it is, another Tetris for Rahmations, and a Tetris and a perfect world transfer from DMJ. Although the 600k is no longer possible for either player, we're still looking at some very powerful 500k transitions here. Another Tetris for DMJ, 408 to now 440. And Rahmations gonna take the triple and kind of see a little bit of a head shake. Probably didn't want to have to take that big of a burn. But we are nearing the transition here. 469 and now 456. Rahmations running into a drought. Does have a way to burn if necessary. All right, there it is. There's the triple. DMJ is going to take the lead with that Tetris. Rahmations answers back, but it looks like DMJ will have a 1 Tetris lead as long as everything goes in his favor. And ooh, a little bit of a misdrop over there for Rahmations. It's going to be a tad bit costly. At least going to prevent from getting any more Tetrises before the transition. And Rahmations transitions at 549. DMJ still has a couple of lines to go. There's another Tetris for Rahmations, 574. DMJ in the midst of a drought right now, and the stack is getting high, but there it is, a much needed Tetris. Nice little spin into a couple of skims over there for Rahmations. Tetris ready, waiting on the long bar. DMJ is going to transition at 576,000. Rahmations still holding out for this long bar, forced to take a triple in the level 20. Not going to take another one though. Going to go for a nice flat double. 26-piece drought over there for Rahmations and 16 for DMJ. Both players knock down a Tetris. 611, make that 637 and now 602. DMJ knocks down another Tetris, only down by 9,000 points and still a level behind. So does have the advantage here. Another Tetris for Rahmations, 667. 632 now for DMJ. Everything's looking stable for both of our players, but Rahmations actually having to set up a delayed burn, and quite a genius delayed burn, I might add. 696 to now 660. DMJ set up for the Tetris. Forced to take that double into a Tetris right there. 689 to 724. In terms of pace, DMJ does have the advantage, but in terms of actual score right now, we are pretty freaking close. 717 to now 752. Rahmations now set up for a one-piece solve and gets the piece to solve that without burning. Not only in the lead by 9,000, brings it up to 37,000 point lead. 1 Minos shy of Tetris readiness as DMJ knocks down a column A Tetris and a perfect world transfer. 773 to now 813. DMJ just continuing to knock down Tetrises, putting so much pressure on Rahmations here. Rahmations intentionally sets up that dependency. Unfortunately, the piece did not quite come in a reasonable time frame. And now Rahmations just forced to throw these pieces all the way over the left, and a misdrop for Rahmations. This is a huge opportunity for DMJ, and DMJ's board looks like in an ideal position to capitalize. Rahmations probably going to try and deal with this hole on top. There it is, another Tetris for DMJ, officially in the lead. And is on level 24. Rahmations is on level 26. Good triple, only a couple more pieces needed for Rahmations to open this hole back up. DMJ now up to a 57,000 point lead. Rahmations, now the well is open, it's a column 8. And there it is, column 8 Tetris over there for Rahmations, 907 and now 963. Incredible game by DMJ right now. Look at that setup by Rahmations though. Knocks down a Tetris down by 54,000. And we're gonna really see 29 play coming to be a factor in order for Rahmations to, oh, a little bit of a misdrop over there. With only 10 lines left till level 29. And another misdrop for Rahmations. Rahmations needs a couple of pieces to help get out of this, at least get this into a manageable board. With only 5 lines left to go. Not gonna go for the tuck. This could get dangerous for Rahmations. DMJ is up to 150,000 point lead. Rahmations not getting good pieces. All right, here it is, and the long bar gets over where it needs to do. It needs to go. DMJ though, with a little bit of a misdrop. There it is, a Tetris for Rahmations. DMJ right now All right, DMJ goes to level 29. Not the cleanest of boards, but I believe has something going on with max out club, so the score might not necessarily be correct. But I believe 1,062,000. There it is, 1.2 for DMJ. So Rahmations currently has an active chase down of 140 or 137,000. DMJ right now having to survive. Needs to get that piece over the left. Does so expertly. Both players are active here on level 29. But oh no, DMJ in a little bit of trouble. Needs to go for it. Find a couple of burns here. Perfect square. Oh, set up for the Tetris and a dirty Tetris for DMJ. But oh no, didn't quite get that all the way over. Okay, Rahmations, you need 1 million. Oh, Rahmations hung the eyepiece and is able to get it over. But this is some massive survival. Rahmations needs to chase down 116,000 points. 1,266,000 is what Rahmations needs. This is not an easy chase down by any means. And oh, the hang to the left. Can Rahmations get anything over? And no, Rahmations tops it at 1.1 million. DMJ takes game number 1 with a powerful 1.2 to start things off here in the first match. All right, we got it ready from DMJ, and Rahmations has been ready. So let's go ahead and get them counted down. Game number 2. Can DMJ follow up with another stellar performance, or will Rahmations even up the set? We're about to find out in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And both players starting out with an L here. Very nice. And looks like we already got a little bit of a rough start from both players. DMJ is going to have to do a bit more work here and in the midst of a drought. So if Rahmations could clean this up efficiently, this could be beneficial. Unfortunately, Rahmations also running into a drought. He's able to get the eyepiece, but a little bit later than when it would have been at least the most optimal. But right now, who cares about optimization right now? DMJ's focusing on survival, nailing that adjustment. And Rahmations has the board absolutely clean. There it is, Tetris for Rahmations. DMJ only has a couple of holes to navigate through. So good enough pieces come, we can see DMJ get out of this in the next couple of pieces. Rahmations only able to build up a 1 Tetris lead, or slightly under a Tetris lead, actually. All right, DMJ is almost out of the woods. A little bit of an unfavorable piece right there, but just needs an eyepiece and everything is going to be solved. All right, that's going to at least help burn that out. Tetris for Rahmations up to a just about a 60,000 point lead, but a dirty Tetris from DMJ. Going for the most efficient way to clean up with, of course, if you want to be efficient while you're down stacking, scoring Tetrises is the way to go. There is another Tetris for DMJ. But a Tetris for Rahmations as well. And now Rahmations actually has to do some burning here. Trying to find some way. And fortunately, the pieces were just not friendly. So now DMJ has the opportunity to kind of catch back up. Only down by 2 Tetrises, so not that huge of a deficit. As a matter of fact, it's going to knock one down right there and aiming to get set up for the next one. A lot of great adjustments are being nailed over here by DMJ. Really help boosting that efficiency, preventing any extra burn lines, if you will. Another Tetris for DMJ has closed the gap to now just under a Tetris here. And just like that, DMJ is taking the lead. Except for we are neck and neck, and Rahmations is behind by 2 lines. So Rahmations could be playing a bit more efficient than DMJ here currently, but we're about to find out. There is Tetris over here for Rahmations. It's gonna knock down another one. DMJ with a lot of really tough pieces. He's now going to be looking for an eyepiece, actually looking for 2, and that eyepiece came a tad bit too late. Good flat burn. Trying to keep things as clean as possible. All right, eyepiece dependent. Eyepiece comes, is able to fill in that dependency that was on the right-hand side. And we are set up for a dirty Tetris here in column 3. And there it is, Tetris over there for DMJ. Trying to maintain as much efficiency as possible. And, oh, no L spin there. Yikes. DMJ now, once again, back into a tough position. And Rahmations, this is a perfect opportunity to extend the lead. And extend the lead he has. 307,000 for Rahmations, 213,000 for DMJ. Rahmations is getting up a little bit high as DMJ has kind of found himself all the way back in the scoring position. Rahmations is going to take a disciplined triple. Really just throwing those pieces over. Creates a hole. Oh, this could get dangerous. Rahmations already shaking his head. He doesn't want this to happen. Now as DMJ has an opportunity, Rahmations, all right, gets that eyepiece. That was very crucial. A lot of burns. All right, and there it is. Dirty Tetris for Rahmations. Look at that down stack. Definitely was holding his breath right there. And DMJ now back in yet again another high situation as Rahmations knocks down a Tetris, goes back up to a 100,000 point lead. And mind you, we are nearing the transition. Another dirty Tetris from DMJ. Both of these players just playing absolutely filthy right now, scoring multiple dirty Tetrises here. And speaking about scoring dirty Tetrises, DMJ going for this one. Forced to take some burns. 10 lines remain here before level 19. Speed gets faster, so both players need to be wary. 443,000 for transition for Rahmations, and DMJ is going to transition at 333,000. So both players not necessarily with as strong transitions as what we saw in game number 1. Rahmations with a massive 100,000 point lead as well. And we've seen, what happens in post 29. We see that both these players are capable of some stellar post 29 play as well. Both players clean, Tetris ready. Putting up at the long bar. Rahmations takes a triple. There it is, Tetris for Rahmations. DMJ not getting the eyepiece anytime soon. Beautiful burns, opens up that hole like there wasn't a problem, and is now ready to start building up for Tetrises yet again. Rahmations, interestingly enough, didn't want to go for that flat eye burn. Still going to be able to get Tetris ready in the lead by 115,000. There it is, Tetris for Rahmations. Going to hit the spin as well. DMJ now, both players Tetris ready. DMJ knocks down Tetris, and so did Rahmations. Rahmations now up a little bit higher in the lead, but also slightly ahead in lines. Not by a lot. It's enough to make a tiny difference in terms of actual lead. And there you have it. Quick 2 Tetrises over there from DMJ. Rahmations with a counter Tetris. 674 to now make that 704 to now 563. DMJ is Tetris ready, but long bar dependent. Gets the eyepiece in a good time. Beautiful delay burn set up over there from DMJ. Just not waiting on the long bar. Clean stack, has ample opportunities to burn, but doesn't need to. There it is. There's a Tetris for DMJ, and another one. 626 to now 764. Rahmations knocks down the Tetris, goes up to 795. This has been a stellar post-transition for both of these players, but a small misstep from Rahmations. This could be a window of opportunity for DMJ. At this point, Tetrises are worth more than 30,000 apiece, so DMJ could really capitalize on these lines. This lead that Rahmations was able to build up around pre-transition could easily disappear. There it is, one Tetris. DMJ now only down by 77,000 as Rahmations is still trying to dig through this. All right, beautiful split triple right there. Rahmations opens up the well, beautifully done into a Tetris. 852, great S-flat as well. 121,000 point lead for Rahmations. Get cut back down to now 86,000. Both players are at the same line count. There it is, another Tetris for Rahmations. 887 now. Tetris for DMJ, 801. All right, we are nearing level 29. 2 Tetrises left for both players. DMJ is going to have to do some burning and needs to get the board under control. This is going to be very complicated. I'm not sure if he can do this in 7 lines, but I'm definitely interested to watch him try. 2 lines left before 29. We've seen Rahmations get out some crazy stuff, and now it's DMJ's turn. Waiting for the most ideal pieces, but oh, those misdrops. Those are going to be fatal as DMJ goes to 29 at 8:15. Rahmations at 9:78 is good for game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. Here we go. Both players are ready. Let's go ahead and count them down. Game number 3. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. DMJ gonna go for the 1 pushdown point, preventing any early ties. But he's gonna have to take a few burns here in the beginning, 3 burns to be exact. And just now got Tetris ready. The way that the column 9 is going to have to either burn or get an eyepiece. There's the eyepiece for DMJ and a perfect L piece to fill in the dependency on the left-hand side. So it looks like both players are going to be off to a pretty solid start here. Rahmations, of course, 100% Tetris rate, hasn't taken any burns. DMJ with an interesting overhang setup. Are you actually breaking out the rolling too? DMJ is one of the few players that does hybrid play style, where he'll daz on a good majority of lower 18 and swap to tapping, or not swap to tapping, swap to rolling, pardon me, when it hits level 19, and of course, you know, stick with that play style on level 29. DMJ, one of the few players that has gotten at least a max, I believe, in every single play style. So far. And oh, there's a perfect clear from DMJ. You know, honestly, we saw, now that I'm thinking back to CTWC, we saw quite a bit of perfect clears. But as of right now, DMJ only down in terms of pace by 1 Tetris. This has been a great opener for both players. Just that small little burn sequence DMJ had to endure with those 3 burn lines kind of set DMJ back by this 1 Tetris range. But otherwise, this is absolutely a fantastic opener for both these players. 277 for Rahmations right now and 234 for DMJ. DMJ now in the midst of a drought here, having to take some more burns. And imagine if we got the double long bar there to see another perfect clear. Brings me back to one of JD's streams where he was actually set up for that and got the double long bar to get the double Tetris perfect clear. It's one of the most insane moments. And oh, there's a little bits over there from DMJ. Rahmations actually running into his first kind of drought here. Gonna take the triple. Made a minor misdrop, so that Tetris for DMJ could be the separating factor between the two. Yeah, DMJ has officially taken the lead with that, but also having to do some burning, so that lead is going to go in Rahmations' favor. Look at this setup from DMJ. See if it gets resolved well. So far, all the pieces fall in the right places, and beautifully done. Very minimal burns had to be executed over there on DMJ's side. Fortunately, there is a long bar dependency in column 4. Gonna go for the Tetris first. I'm just gonna fill in the long bar dependency utilizing that bar. Just bring the stack down to a more safer position. And you know, there are some times when you get in situations like that is where you can take the Tetris or you can burn out. Your decision making on whether to take the Tetris or not is very important. And speaking about decision making, Rahmations is gonna have a pretty interesting dig here. Not entirely sure what's the most efficient way to go about this. Maybe go for the J-spin there. Nice, goes for the J-spin, executes the tuck as well. As a result, DMJ is likely to stay in the lead here. All right, Rahmations is finally cleaned up, but is down by now 55,000 points. And a lot of uncharacteristic misdrops from Rahmations right now. Seems like a mixture in between indecision. Oh, beautiful JD spin. The pieces that came afterwards aren't the best, but the way that it isolated that hole, very well executed, very well thought out as well, instead of just going for the regular T-spin. Does need to be a little bit careful here. It's actually set. Oh, nice. Misses the T-spin though. And transition is upon us. DMJ able to potentially build up a 100,000 point lead before transition, and we kind of saw something similar to this in game number 1, where DMJ just had such a massive lead going into 29, and although Rahmations was able to outlast DMJ, was not able to complete the chase down. But here we go, transition is upon us. Both players with one Tetris remaining, or rather one Tetris potentially remaining. DMJ is going to transition at 577, very powerful, very strong. Rahmations, on the other hand, ooh, oh no, a lot of tough pieces for Rahmations, and I'm not sure what's going on. Rahmations is going to transition at 444, but is up incredibly high. All right, nails the triple, still needs a couple of good pieces. That's going to be a split double. Great survival here, needs to get this well opened up. All right, Rahmations is ready to score, but down by 174,000. So he's got to get to scoring. There it is. There's one Tetris. DMJ is clean as well. Similar situation to what we saw in game number 1. Question is, will the result be any different? We are about to find out. Another Tetris for DMJ goes up to 661. Rahmation counters, trying to prevent DMJ from building up that lead. But DMJ is on a hot streak right now, just nailing down Tetris after Tetris. Rahmations answers back. Nice couple burns. Skim over there from DMJ. Another Tetris for DMJ. Long bar dependency gets filled over there for Rahmations. Waiting on a couple of pieces. Actually set up for a dirty Tetris into a well transfer. Into another Tetris over there for Rahmations. What a nice little combo sequence there. Lead is still 124,000 DMJ's favor. Both players here on level 22. Rahmations knocks down a 23 Tetris. DMJ having to go through a couple of burns, so maybe there was a potential gap, a one Tetris gap being closed right there, but Rahmations now once again making another misdrop, so gonna have to either build on top of this or try and burn out of that hole. There's a trip over there from DMJ. Lead has decreased to 100,000. Rahmations, oh, very tricky situation. Eyepiece does come, well as open. Tetris for Rahmations, 718 to now 818. Both of these players having to deal with a definitely unorthodox set of pieces, as Rahmations is holding out for this T-piece, finally gets it. And is Rahmations actually going to go for this? Looks like Rahmations is going to try going for this column 7. And there it is, column 7 Tetris for Rahmations. Now down by 129,000, just going to go back to the right-hand side. DMJ has done a fantastic job this game maintaining the lead. But now this is crucial. Can't get into any situations, or all it takes is one dig situation and Rahmations will make a comeback. At least before 29. Of course, 29 play is going to be involved with both of these players. Another Tetris for DMJ. Tetris for Rahmations as well. 825 to now 988. One Tetris away from the max over here for DMJ. There it is. Another Tetris over there for DMJ with the million points, as Van Willer would like to say it. 893 to now 1,022,000. DMJ just on a hot streak of Tetrises right now, is not slowing down. Fast tracking on the way to a 1.1. There it is, another Tetris over there for Rahmations. And not necessarily the best pieces. Gonna have to take that triple. Can grab one more Tetris here before 29. And here we go, 29 play for Rahmations. 1,094,000 for DMJ. Has one more line left to burn. He's gonna do so with a Tetris. Goes to 1.1 million. Rahmations having to do some down stacking here, throwing those pieces over to the left. This is dangerous. Good burns though. And look at this survival by Rahmations. Almost with 1,000,000 points exactly, down by 120,000. Needs to get a good piece over there to the left. Nice, hit the 5 tap on the eyepiece. Hit another one, but is now back in down stacking mode. And oh, the double flip over there on the T-piece was a little bit rough. Rahmations is in trouble. And can't get the eyepiece over. Rahmations tops out at 1 million points. DMJ with yet again another 1.2 is good for game number 3. All right, we have already between both of our players. This is important game number 4. Can Rahmations bring this to a decider, or is DMJ going to continue to be the force that he is? We're about to find out. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, Tetris. DMJ has been very pivotal this series to his team's success, winning a very important match, or winning very important matches over the past couple of sets here. And this time it's going to be Rahmations with the 1 pushdown point advantage. Unfortunately, pieces are not falling particularly well. It's going to knock down a dirty Tetris there. But DMJ is going to take an early advantage, and DMJ is actually going to push down for 2 pushdown points. So even if a tie were to happen, nice little 1-point lead over there for DMJ. Rahmations yet again having to run into a rough sequence of pieces. And Rahmations is going to push down for 3 points. You got the push down battle with the overall war that is this match. And DMJ is going to push down for 4 and shakes his finger. No. But no, Rahmations pushes down for 5. DMJ pushes down for 5 right there. And we are now tied in the pushdown points sector. Nope, never mind, DMJ. No, they keep it 6 points apiece in the 1-digit place. Oh, Rahmations takes the lead at 7. And in actuality, Rahmations is down by 2 Tetrises, but you love to see players just have this much fun. There's another Tetris for Rahmations. DMJ now 231,000. A couple of unfavorable pieces, just really untimely T pieces. Of course, T pieces come when you don't want them. And just like that, Rahmations flips the lead into his favor as DMJ is now having to do some down stacking. Might be setting up for his... Yeah, DMJ is going to take a safety burn, set up for it. Does the eyepiece come, though? Yes, it does. Dirty Tetris or DMJ back into the lead. However, these pieces are going to provide further complications, so DMJ not going to be able to really get clean as efficiently as he like, but still gets clean nonetheless, and we are now separated by a double's worth in points. Rahmations is going to knock down the Tetris set, put him up 3. Oh, the Vince over there from DMJ. Very aggressive, but up against a player like Rahmations, very warranted. Separated by a doubles now worth in points. DMJ with the long bar dependency. Cutting it down to now only around a single and a half. Rahmations now in the midst of a drought here. Well, it's open over there for Rahmations. DMJ now up to a Tetris and a half lead. 43-piece drought for Rahmations right now. And all Rahmations can do is shake his head and play. And there it is. Finally a Tetris. Massive drought. RG felt bad is going to give another one. And DMJ is also going to push down for 1 point to add insult to injury. And just like that, Rahmations with 2 quick Tetrises gonna go back into the lead, but is also ahead in lines. And interestingly enough, decide to go for that T-piece overhang. Needs a J-piece, and J-piece just did not come. DMJ with the advantage and is gonna be able to maintain it here. We are nearing the transition, though. Very important game number 4 here. And this is the closest that we've seen both of these players been. Generally, you know, these 3 games have been a 100,000 point lead in someone's favor, whether it be DMJ's or Rahmations. And with this being around a 50,000 point game, that's 2 Tetrises. We are going to have a close game. There's 3 potential Tetrises left here on level 18 for Rahmations, and 4 potentially left for DMJ. Of course, that assumes no burns are taken from either player. And Rahmations is going for it. 514 now. DMJ has to take burns here. It's going to really hurt the pace, and that might actually give us a neck-and-neck position going into 20, or not going into 29, going into 19. Whoa, getting way ahead of myself right there. 536 to now 579 as DMJ transitions. There it is, 560, and another Tetris immediately in transition for Rahmations. And Rahmations almost set up for another. Just long bars like to come when you're not Tetris ready. 1 Mino away, Rahmations is going to take another skim into a Tetris. 611 and now 606. Beautiful boards from both players. Another Tetris for DMJ. But Rahmations counters, holding on to a 4,000 point lead, but it's also 4 lines in the future. Maybe an accidental adjustment. Rahmations a couple of misdrops in a row. It shouldn't be too bad. Great piece is going to help burn that out, but is going to fall potentially further behind. Nice overhangs. Tetris ready, going to take the safety double. Another Tetris for DMJ up to a 43,000 point lead. Rahmations yet again running into a drought. Nice burn. Tetris for over there for Rahmations. And oh, this is going to be really tricky. Needs a specific set of pieces to help this out. And there it is. TI now just needs another eye piece to score the Tetris as DMJ is still up by 43,000. Stack is getting up high for Rahmations. Going to take the double. Very tricky here. Nice little delay burn. Great recognition there. But a 20-piece drought and an S and Z burst. Not what you want to see. Well is open for Rahmations. Able to throw those pieces over to the left now. Rahmations down by around 57,000 points. Amazing survival. With DMJ with almost a 100,000 point lead. Another Tetris for Ra, but a Tetris for DMJ. A couple more misdrops for Ra as well. Ra has really been handling these droughts well. In fact, it looks like we're walking headfirst into another one. And oh no, several misdrops in a row. This is going to cost Ra even more pace here before level 29, as DMJ is just playing absolutely stellar. In fact, DMJ is on track for another 1.2. Rahmations right here, 774 to now 909. DMJ is getting up a little bit high though. And oh no, another misdrop from Rahmations. We still have a bit of time, but we're gonna have to see some insane down stacking right now. Rahmations needs an L, needs an O, needs something. All right, trying to find a way to navigate down. Makes an adjustment, but running out of room. Okay, good burns. Needs an L or a J. L or a J. Those pieces will suffice as Rahmations is fighting for life here. Oh my gosh. Rahmations needs help. We are only a couple lines away from 29. Okay, wow, gets that piece all the way over left. 3 lines left to go. And oh no, that was a terrible S to the double flip. That's gonna do it. Rahmations tops out at 802. DMJ at 1.1 is good for game number 4 with an insane set of basically 1.2s every single game. And now the Sparks and Minos are off to a strong start here. Game number 1, or match number 1, goes into Sparks and Minos' favor. All right. Looks like we have readies from both of our players. Let's go and count them down. Here we go. Game number 1 in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Of course, this is a very important match for Dan to have to win up against Rhubarb, which, for whatever reason, Rhubarb's name is cut off, right? There we go. Went up against Rhubarb here. Now, in the previous match, Dan did lose to DMJ in a decider. Rhubarb was able to win one of his deciders, or wasn't a decider, it was actually 3-1 up against Red Shirt. And just barely lost in a decider up against Rahmations. As of right now, there is no mercy rule possible up against the Sparks and Minos. Dan is able to win this. There won't be a mercy rule possible for the entire set, and puts us more so in the territory of sudden death, which if we do go to sudden death because of that way that the player schedules works out today, we'll be playing sudden death on a later date. Same composition, of course. No cheating or any mess like that. But it's also going to be an interesting thing to experiment with, something that we'll probably be doing next season, so that way we just have players show up, play, and don't have to worry about staying after for sudden death. I think that'd be a bit more friendly towards our more so internationally inclined players, and also help schedule-wise. We'll have to see. Anyways, to start things off, and wow, that is a massive misdrop over there for Rhubarb. Able to fix it up pretty cleanly, though. And, oh, decided to go for that burn. It's going to cost a couple of burn lines here. But that gives Dan an opportunity to take the lead, and does so with that Tetris. And Rhubarb's going to go for a column 8. Dan, wow. Set up for the Vits and gets 2 L's. And these adjustments are very accurate over here for Dan. Unfortunately, that last one didn't quite have the intended effect. The well still gets open. 202,196. And now continuing to put a little bit more pressure on Rhubarb here. Both players are clean. And Dan going for that rotation for the adjustment there. That's going to be a triple, not a Tetris. So Rhubarb does have the potential to be in the lead by just around a Tetris and a half. $278 to now $311. Rhubarb having to take a couple of burns here, so that could be beneficial for Dan. Dan is set up for the Tetris. So able to cut the lead down to now only 11,000, just under half a Tetris here, or just over. Oh, no, that was about right. Forced to take that triple, though. Followed up by a couple more burns here. That out post. 381 to now 384. Dan knocks down another Tetris, goes up to 403. Right now, both players just in a very comfortable position. Dan maybe a little bit less comfortable than Rhubarb, but still going to be able to continuously knock down Tetrises. Rhubarb actually has the affinity for almost around a 2 Tetris lead. Another Tetris for Dan. Rhubarb 480. Dan now at 521. Try and grab one more Tetris here. And Those pieces are not necessarily ideal. Dan's going to transition at 550. And Rhubarb with a couple of misdrops here going into transition. Dan, however, not clean. In fact, this could get dangerous if Dan's not careful. Rolling or not, still a deadly board. All right, Dan's bringing this down. Nice dirty Tetris over there for Rhubarb. Maintaining around a Tetris lead here. Even while both players are down stacking, Dan with a disgusting S-burst right there. Doing everything to stay alive. So far as efforts are paying off. Nice, bringing the stack down. Beautiful delay burn. Puts more weight on that particular hole, though. Trying to find a way to navigate through this. And still not getting good pieces. All right, perfect eyepiece right there. Rhubarb is in position to score Tetrises. Dan just needs a couple more good pieces. All right, there it is. What a survival. 4 levels of digging. Dan opens up the well, knocks down a Tetris. 615 for Dan, 633 for Rhubarb. Rhubarb is behind by almost 2 levels, though. So there is a massive advantage. And Dan is going to be relying on some 29 play unless Rhubarb gets into a sticky situation himself. 2 quick Tetrises for Rhubarb brings him up to 691. Dan is at 675. The player's clean. Rhubarb taking a couple of burns. Dan actually going no burn strats here. Not going to get Tetris ready to utilize that first long bar. He's going to find some alternative burns ahead. And when you're down by this in terms of just actual pace, going for no burns might be the best way you can to combat Rhubarb's efficiency. Because Rhubarb has been playing absolutely phenomenal posts here. 737 and now 755. Dan has to take 2 triples. Not just 1, 2. Both players knocked down a Tetris separated by 400 points. And only a couple of rough S pieces. Dan might be getting set up for something. Could decide to burn it out, though. And just going to burn it out. Just not really too many good pieces to try and kind of maintain that. Rhubarb now up by 49,000 points. We are nearing level 29. We have 3 potential Tetrises left for Dan. That's assuming a near perfect dig out. And no, we only have 2 Tetrises now. And still looking for some good pieces. Down by 100,000. Goes for the S flat. All right, good burns. Needs a way to open this up. Finds a way. And oh, that looks like a little bit of a judgment error there from Dan. Dan's going to go to level 29 and 825. Good rotations, good burns. Set up for a Tetris. Still set up. Waiting on the long bar. Now's not the time for a drought. And Dan's just forced to have to go for these burns. Meanwhile, Rhubarb still has 1 Tetris. Potentially 2 to go before 29. Good 5-tap over there from Dan. Down by 163,000. All right, Dan is alive. Rhubarb now at 227. Now, oh, that left side is looking dangerous. A nice level 32 Tetris over there for Dan. And Rhubarb tops out at 1,085,000. Dan has to survive this, though. And oh, no. And that's going to do it. Rhubarb takes game number 1. We are ready for a game number 2. So let's go ahead and get them counted down. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Just really tough transition board over there from Dan. And the survival was amazing. But those 4 levels spent burning, that would have been plenty to essentially recuperate the deficit that was occurred on post, or rather just almost directly into 29. And just having to, you know, chase down something of that magnitude is something that we don't really see happen too often here on Gauntlet. But right now, we are off to a flawless start over here for Rhubarb. Has to take first burn. And forced to create a little bit of an overhang with the S. Didn't really have a good spot to place it. And might actually be setting this up. Yeah, Rhubarb is committing to this. Set up for a dirty Tetris here on row 5. It's going to knock it down. And we were tied there for a second. Rhubarb just going to take that double there. Not going to commit any more than he has to. $169 to now $210. And now goes up to 233, so things are looking pretty clean here. And able to gain a 2 Tetris lead throughout the entirety of Rhubarb, just trying to get clean. And kind of see a similar situation happening here. Rhubarb playing a little bit with fire. I understand that he's part of the Sparks and Minos, but you gotta be careful. The sparks could ignite an unwanted flame, and easy to fly too close to the sun. As a result, Dan is now up to a 100,000 point lead, 348,000 for Dan, 246,000 for Rhubarb. Able to find his way back down to the bottom, and still having to deal with some pretty tricky piece sequences. And this is a game that you are looking for Dan here. Strong game, what you need to bounce back. And wow, Rhubarb just barely getting that Z piece over. And all right, good pieces. Rhubarb committing for a row 2. And all right, just able to get the long bar just in time, because that was starting to look very scary. Not necessarily comfortable, but Rhubarb is alive and well. Dan, on the other hand, 182,000 point lead at 485, and Rhubarb, yet again, in the midst of a small drought. $514 to now $355. Another Tetris over there for Rhubarb. $378 now. $537. We have a game over here for Dan. And there has been kind of a trend today with at least our Ruby matchups. Our Diamond matchups that come up next is going to be a different story. I don't quite anticipate them scoring 100,000 plus in post 29. And I like that decision over there by Dan, intentionally creating the dependency and filling it in later just to have a more cohesive stack. And, you know, at this point, you don't have to play aggressive if you're in Dan's position. But here we are, just around one line left till transition over here for Rhubarb, and a Tetris left potentially over here for Dan. Dan's going to transition at an astounding 657. Rhubarb transitions at 481. This is a massive lead, but Dan has to keep it up here. Players are going here on level 19. Beautiful stacks from both players as well. And interestingly, Rhubarb decided to go all the way over with that. Running into a drought here, 25 pieces, but is able to outlast it in just enough time. 736 now for Dan. Just going just full on here. Rhubarb now, Tetris ready. So is Dan at following that skim. Dan now experiencing a drought here. Does get the eyepiece, knocks down a Tetris, a 200,000 point lead, and there isn't a line count discrepancy. This is a true lead. Rhubarb is in trouble, and that hang is gonna do it. Rhubarb tops out at 589. Dan ties up the series 1-1. All right, we have game number 3. Both players are ready. Who's gonna take the advantage? Is it going to be Rhubarb from the Sparks and Minos, or is Dan going to bring the Aux Cords one step closer to equalizing this match? We are about to find out. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. And we got some interesting setups over here from both players. Dan able to convert a Tetris on his setup though. Rhubarb gets 4 burn lines. So not quite a Tetris. It's a Tetris in spirit, I guess you can say. But regardless, both players are off to a... Oh, Dan going for the bits here. See, does Dan get punished? RNG hitting Dan with a drought right now. And that's one of the craziest things when you go for a delayed bit. Oh my gosh, what? Dirty Tetris over there for Dan. Not gonna burn out the bits yet. Still not gonna burn out of it. Held out for the long bar. This, oh no. Dan now up incredibly high. Needs an L or a J. Needs an eyepiece. Oh no. Goes for the flat placements. Look at this survival by Dan. What? Needs an L. Needs something. And wow, literally the worst pieces ever. Early top out over there from Dan. This is why you don't set up delay bits. Dan had plenty of opportunities to burn out. Rhubarb is good for game number 3. Game number 4. Both players are ready. Can we see a decider? Or is Rhubarb going to avenge his loss from yesterday? We're about to find out. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Dan already off to a little bit of a rough start. Able to get a Tetris out of this board. And oh wow! If the S piece comes, that, or not an S piece, needed a Z piece. Great adaptation though. Great solve by Dan. I actually really like that. That is ridiculous. Able to find that solve. That is... This was a evaluating chess moves, but for Tetris. I guess if this was a Tetris fish, that would be a brilliant move. Well, I guess it's like, what, rather rapid? Kind of lame if you ask me. But as a result, Dan is going to be falling slightly behind here. And could actually go for this. If an L or a J comes, all right, and the eyepiece, there it is, Tetris for Dan. Going to be trailing by 2 Tetrises, but man, that was just a really great solve. And a little bit of a tricky O piece. Well, more than just a tricky O piece. So Dan now going to have to be doing some hefty amount of digging early on. It is going to be a Tetris, though. Rhubarb having to take a few burns. Nothing too serious. Dan, oh, nice. Actually waiting for the ideal pieces. Missed the Corian adjustment, but everything looks like it's going to be fine on Dan's end. Goes for the eye spin, misses it. And Dan now proceeds to fall behind by just around 100,000 points. Rhubarb sets up a great S-flat right there. Unfortunately, the pieces aren't quite as compliant, but that's perfect. Well is open in the midst of a 17-piece and counting drought, so nothing too difficult to survive. And there's the long bar, so 117,000 point lead for Rhubarb. Dan has to get something going, and has to get something going soon. The solves have been great. The issue is that just because of running into that situation, there was so much efficiency lost. And unless Rhubarb gets into a situation that requires an immense amount of burning, we are looking at a similar situation what we saw in the matches between Rahmations and DMJ, and even just game one of this particular matchup. There's another Tetris for Rhubarb. Dan now starting to increase the efficiency slightly. Nailing a lot of these key adjustments here. There's Tetris for Dan. Rhubarb actually having to take a couple of burns. So this is an opportunity for Dan to at least decrease the lead by a Tetris or two. Rhubarb is almost out. Just needs one more piece to burn. And there it is, little slideshow. So Rhubarb's still gonna maintain this 100,000 point advantage. Nice little eye spin there. $137,000 point advantage for Rhubarb at 468. Dan at 352. Rhubarb with another misdrop. Doesn't look like it's particularly a costly one either. We are nearing the transition here. And they're dirty Tetris for Rhubarb. Still finding just these little pockets of efficiency. Really preventing Dan from kind of essentially generating a comeback. But you're about to reach the transition. Dan, man, these are some tricky pieces to deal with. Dan transitions at 409. Rhubarb transitions at 545. Dan brings Sec all the way down to the bottom. But Rhubarb running into some complications as well. Dan could get into a scoring position here early on. This could be the game changer. But Rhubarb just found some incredible solves. Dan only was able to close the gap by one Tetris. Good adjustment right there. Wow. Really brutal pieces. And, oh, that misdrop. Dan goes for the tap all the way over to the left. This is scary for Dan. Wow. SSZZ. Terrible combination of pieces. Dan can try and survive, but it's not going to happen. Dan tops out at 477. The Sparks and Minos are now up 2-0. All right, we got it ready. Let's go ahead and count them down. There you go. In 3, 2, 1. Tetris. There we go. See everything crystal clear. Well, not quite crystal clear, but you guys get the picture. Anyways, to start off this match here, Opaux, yet again, similar situation to yesterday. Back is against the wall here. Avoided unwanted pieces over here for Opaux. Gonna cost a couple of burns. And oh, Opaux hanging that eyepiece. Gets another one, so is going to be able to find a way to fill that up in eventually. Needs a couple of good pieces to go for a couple of good burns. In the middle of a 20-piece drought, eyepiece is going to help massively down the center there. Opaux is going to be able to live this. Jerpidude is going to go up to an early lead here. All right, Tetris over there for Opaux. Opaux yet again running into another drought. Great way to isolate the burning levels though. Nice burn over there for Opaux. 30-piece drought. Eyepiece one, of course, take its time. There's another Tetris for Opaux. Jerpidude at 210. Looks like Opaux might just go for row 2 here. At this point, with Jerpidude having a 130,000 point lead, this kind of aggression is warranted. We've seen what has been the story of these massive leads. Both players are, ooh, Jerpidude, nice double tuck. And long bar dependency gets created. Yet again, another drought over here for Opaux. Jerpidude, I'm gonna do a couple of burns here. Made a minor misdrop. Is still gonna be able to get a Tetris, now has to navigate through this in a 30-piece drought over here for Opaux. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that Opaux lived in California, because these droughts are hitting hard this game. Jerpidude has lost a little bit of the lead, but is also behind in lines, so might not be a true advantage lost. There's another Tetris for Opaux, 285 to now 386. Jerpidude still having to do some digging, so Opaux gonna once again chop the lead down a bit. Jerpidude in need of a T-piece here. T-piece kind of took its time. Jerpidude is set up for row 2, so kind of similar position Opaux was in that earlier stage of the game. English. Now Jerpidude finally gets the eyepiece to go in that center, fill in that dependency. Just needs a couple more pieces to help him out here. Jerpidude's Lead has shrunk to only just under 80,000. Is clean and does have a 3 Tetris in terms of pace advantage, or rather 12 line advantage. So could bring the lead back up to 100,000 points. There's a Tetris there. $411 to 490. Opaux not quite getting that S piece all the way over to left. Opaux is going to transition at 436. And not going to be able to score until these holes are dealt with. These pieces are not the most friendly either. And Jerpidude also in danger. This is survival. We saw Dan V survive something like this in his game 1. But this could evaporate all of Jerpy's advantage. Jerpidude transitions to 19. Up incredibly high on the board. Needs an eyepiece. All right, gets it down the center. All right, bringing the stack down bit by bit. Nice double right there. But the advantage is all but almost gone for Jerpidude. Jerpidude has to get a piece all the way over to the left. And it's not going to happen. Jerpidude tops out at 506. Opaux, you need 507. And one more line burn, and that's going to do it. Opaux takes game number 1. All right, we have it ready from both players. Let's go ahead and count them down. Game number 2. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Jerpidude already going to push down for 1 point. So, to have that push down point advantage. And we've seen a game that Jerpidude has played in Gauntlet last season where technically 1 point could have been the difference. That's still probably the most insane Gauntlet match, the closest Gauntlet match has ever been. I mean, a tie on level 29. And it's not like, you know, rolling was at a very prominent stage at that point in time. But right now, Opaux off with a flawless start. Gonna take a couple of conservative burns. Jerpidude stacking up high. And man, Jerpidude just refusing to burn. Finally takes a double there. But look at this aggression by Jerpidude. And oh, not quite getting that piece where it needed to go. Jerpidude brought the stack all the way down to the bottom. And of course is ahead in lines because dude was stacked up to the ceiling. And nice, beautiful setup over there by Opaux. Missed the S-spin though. Sometimes it'd be like that. You hit the most complicated thing first, the Z spin tuck, and then you miss a simple S-spin. It happens. But something that is happening is Jerpidude is starting to close the gap slightly here. And its left side is not looking too friendly for Opaux. As a matter of fact, Opaux needs an eyepiece or some other way to burn. That will do. Just needs an L piece. Or those combination of pieces work, and Opaux might actually be committing for this. Yeah, Opaux is going to commit. This dirty Tetris is open. There it is, Tetris for Opaux, and now him and Jerpy are just about neck and neck with each other. Great J piece over there for Opaux here. Jerpidude knocks down a Tetris, going into the lead. Opaux is just not getting good pieces for this. It's going to take that triple. Not going to hold out for the specific piece to get a clean burnout. Jerpidude might be up to around a Tetris and a half lead. Or, no, just under a Tetris lead. Brutal drought right there for Jerpy. And oh no, that's a hung S. That's almost 16 high. Can Jerpy get an eyepiece, and can he get it over? And the eyepiece doesn't rotate. Jerpidude tops it at 289. Opaux is one game away. All right, we have it ready from both players. Let's go ahead and count them down. Opaux has an opportunity to guarantee his team a chance and sudden death at a later date. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Dude, already going for a lot of ambitious adjustments here. And missed spin right there. Jerpidude has gotten the board cleaned up. Opaux off to a really good start here. And a couple of unwanted O's and S's. If you arrange those in the right order, you get a SOS, and that's what Jerpy needed. Pardon me. 123,000 over here for Opaux in the start here. Jerpidude not too far behind. And so far, we got a stable start from both players. Jerpidude is going to be slightly behind in pace. Jerpidude now Tetris ready, opens up the well. And knock down the Tetris, so not too punished on the Vits. We've seen some pretty nasty Vits punishes in Gauntlet, and I mean, we saw one today. That was a pretty rough one, actually. It was 287 to now 250. Really close game here so far. Opaux with the lead of anywhere from 36,000 to 58,000. Both players gonna knock down a Tetris, really calm. 299 over here for Jerpidude, make that 321. And at this point, both players are just knocking down Tetrises, keeping up with each other. And 404 now for Opaux. This matchup is a matchup that has quite a lot of history here on Gauntlet. They've played each other quite a few times. I mean, not just in the playoffs, but even in the last season. And I believe in terms of record, Jerpidude might have the advantage in just terms of overall Gauntlet record, really because of the past few instances when they ran into each other. But that might change as Opaux is on an incredibly strong game. 473,000 at 98 lines. Jerpidude is at 437 at 101. So looking at a mid to high 500k for Jerpidude. Looking at something a little bit more grand for Opaux. Opaux is going to have to take a few burns though. Love to get a T-piece here. Oh, wow. That was a great way to solve that. Unfortunately, almost all the pace evaporated as a result of that, and Opaux finally gets a long bar, was running into a drought, got a nice little Z tower there. And we have a neck and neck game. Oh wow. Great burn sequence over there from Opaux yet again. We are going to be neck and neck all the way up until post transition. And Opaux is going to push down for 5 points to prevent any ties, because the way they're playing, a tie could happen. And Jerpidude pushes down for 7 points and transitions at 540,000. Opaux transitions at 560,000. So we got a game, 564 to now 560. Jerpidude's back is against the wall. He's got to win this in order to continue the match. Opaux got to win this to guarantee his team a seat in sudden death for a chance to make it to that top 4. And ooh, a little bit of a misdrop from Opaux. Jerpidude's going to take the lead with that Tetris. Opaux is in the middle of a 30-piece drought. Long bar, nowhere to be seen. Still waiting on this bar. Where's this bar for Opaux? The well is covered. Opens up the well, gets the long bar, and knocks the Tetris. 597 and now 642. Jerpidude has solidified a 2 Tetris lead as Opaux is now going for some row 2 action here. Nice burns, just bringing the stack down. In fact, an eyepiece will be a perfect will transfer. But the thing is, you need to get an eyepiece here. Eyepiece does not come. Opaux tried to delay it a little bit longer. Unfortunately, got slightly punished. Jerpidude with a misdrop though. So if Opaux could just get the long bar here. There it is, Tetris for Opaux. 641 to now 698. Jerpidude still working on navigating through this and almost out of it. Just needs an L or a J or an I. It's a great combination of pieces. Opaux is ready, down by 59,000, but both players are Tetris ready now. Stacks are clean. Now they're just having to hold throughout this drought. Jerpidude running into some complications. Opaux, yet again, another 30-piece drought. Getting those pieces all the way to the left. Gives himself a burning chamber and knocks down a Tetris. And is set up. Jerpidude having to go through some very fierce pieces right now. Not as fierce as another 30-piece drought like Opaux just had to endure. As a matter of fact, the drought counter is ticking again for Opaux. Really trying to prevent him from chasing down this lead. There is another Tetris for Opaux. Set up for one more. As Jerpidude finally burns all the way down to the bottom. Opaux was only able to close the gap by a Tetris, and now is down by only 3,000 points, but Jerpidude is clean. There it is, another Tetris for Jerpidude. Opaux counters 786 to now 789. Just such a tough situation over here for Opaux, having to run into drought after drought, down by now 1,000 points as Jerpidude trying to avoid taking the double, trying to go for one burn. Beautifully done into a Tetris. Jerpidude back into the lead, 854 to now 821. Opaux opens, no, a little bit of a double rotation over there for Opaux. It's going to cost a couple more burns. Great T-piece, decides not to use it to burn out that hole immediately. Would love to get an L-piece, and oh, another misdrop for Opaux. Opaux is now in danger with only a couple of lines left. Can't get these 5 taps to go over. And Opaux is going to top out at 830. Just punished on the droughts there. Jerpidude prevents the sweep and still has a chance to close this out in favor of the Sparks and Minos. Bro, Opaux ran into so many 30-piece droughts that game. It's actually ridiculous. But we got it ready from both players. Let's go ahead and count them down. We go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. So here it is. Jerpidude, 1 heart on the board. Opaux 1 game away from bringing us to a sudden death. And both players with a Tetris on the board. Opaux is going to have to take a first burn here. Gonna have to go for this triple as well. So a couple of burns being kind of forced upon Opaux right there. Jerpidude is going to take an early advantage. Nice adjustment. There's a nice little dirty Tetris over there from Jerpy. It's going to set up a pretty good delayed burn too. Z elevated. And go for that burn. Burn that out. Tetris ready. Opaux having to take a couple of burns. Nothing too serious. Is going to be trailing by just over half a Tetris. There's another Tetris for Jerpy. Opaux counters. Jerpy with the lead here. Regardless, still got a very close game. $197 and now 197, separated by half a single, and we're at the same line count, so this burn is really costing Jerpidude quite a bit of lines. And having to take some more burns here. Beautiful line spin over there for Opaux. Missing that would have been very harmful for the board, but hitting it resulted in just such a clean stack, or a clean way to build up for a Tetris, and that's exactly what Opaux has done, is now extending the lead. Jerpidude sets up a pretty ambitious overhang. $292 to now $253. Both players board under control. Same line count. Opaux has taken a 2 Tetris lead. And coincidentally, they're both running into kind of a drought here. It only ticked around 14 for Opaux and 17 for Jerpidude, so nothing massive per se. But stacks did start to get a little bit on the higher end. And Opaux trying to avoid creating a dependency right there. And oh, accidentally brought the T back. And be able to slide that underneath. Now in just in need of an eyepiece. Oh, this could be a no, not going to set up for the Tetris. And would have actually got rewarded there. Opaux is just going to take his time and burn this out. And Jerpidude hits that spin. Opaux now clean. Almost Tetris ready. And we are separated by 12 pushdown points in favor of Opaux there. Opaux did knock down Tetris as Jerpidude had to burn, though. $421 for Opaux, $384 for Jerpidude. We are nearing the transition. Very important game 4. Jerpidude still has a chance to close this out for his team, while Opaux is fighting for a sudden death opportunity. 468 to now 430. Only separated by a Tetris and a half here. Jerpidude's gonna knock down that Tetris. Opaux responds, but Jerpidude answers right back. 500,000 for Jerpidude, 514 for Opaux. Opaux can try and grab one more Tetris. No, both players can try and get 2 Tetrises here before transition. Opaux knocks down 1, so does Jerpidude. Trying to get set up here. Jerpidude knocks down a Tetris, did a little bit of sacrificing. Wow, stack sacrificing there. Opaux is ready and is going to transition at 563. So it's now 549 to 563. We are at level 19 here. $587 now. Opaux knocks down a Tetris. Still in the lead by just around half a Tetris. Jerpidude now Tetris ready. Knocks down a Tetris. Jerpidude goes back into the lead. It's back and forth here as Opaux rescinds that. 640 now to 653. Both players just playing clean. Opaux, oh, hanging that eyepiece. And another misdrop for Opaux. Gonna have to take the triple. Gets the eyepiece all the way over. Now Jerpidude can build up a lead here. This is gonna at least take Opaux at least a level to get through this. And a level on the post transition. Even though we're early in post, that's still a massive amount of points. Both players enter level 22. All right, Opaux, beautiful triple right there. Tetris for Jerpidude, though. And Jerpidude is actually slightly ahead on lines. So the lead is actually a lot closer than it seems, as Opaux is now back down at the bottom. 668 to now 670 or 622. Jerpidude knocks down a split triple, followed up by a double. It's a lot of burned lines, and Opaux could potentially capitalize off of that. Opaux is Tetris ready, and another misdrop. And, oh, the well is covered. Opaux needs to get access to that hole in column 7. Needs to be careful with the placements here. Needs to try and avoid putting too much weight on top of that. More weight gets put on. Nice. Able to roll that piece all the way over to the left. Good 5 taps here. But Jerpidude is now up to 119,000 point lead. $683 for Opaux. The well is open. And there it is. Tetris for Opaux. Jerpidude really going all in for this Tetris here down at the bottom. Another Tetris for Opaux. Jerpidude's having to try and compensate for having to build off on top of this. All right, there it is. Another Tetris for Jerpidude. But Opaux has closed the gap down to now only 3 Tetrises. And Opaux is behind in lines. Of course, both of these players can play 29, so that is a factor. But Opaux is a lot closer than you think. As a matter of fact, Opaux is Tetris ready. There it is. Tetris for Opaux, down by less than a Tetris now. Jerpidude is going to generate some more separation with that beautiful double tuck over there from Opaux. But a long bar dependency. Knocks down a Tetris first. Deals with the long bar dependency later. Opaux, all right, perfect triple right there. Cutting the lead down even further. 915 to now 894. Another triple over there for Opaux. Jerpidude holding out for this long bar. Knocks down a Tetris. Gonna be a vital Tetris 2. Gonna generate some much needed separation. Another Tetris for Jerpidude. Opaux, oh, that's a really tough Z. Not really too much to do with that. Good burns, though. And just no eyepiece for Opaux right here. 940 to now 987. Make that 1,023,000. Opaux now goes to 29, a little bit dirty. Needs to get, oh, he's got to get an eyepiece over. He's set up for, he's got to get it over. And a dirty left log Tetris over there for Opaux. But, oh no, can he get another one over? Jerpidude is about to top out. Oh my gosh, Opaux survives. He gets another one over. He needs to chase down 36,000 more points. He's almost there. At this point, a Tetris will do it, but lining out could be optimal. Opaux just needs 27,000 more points. 1,038,000 is what Opaux needs. But oh no, oh no. Oh no! Oh no, the choke! Opaux is not able to complete the chase down. We are going to a decider. Really just tough O pieces right there. Right? We have ready from both players, so let's go ahead and count them down. This is it. Game number 5. The decider between the captains. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Opaux was 20,000 points away from bringing his team to a sudden death. This is the closest that we've seen both Opaux and Jerpidude this season. And it all comes down to this. Can Jerpidude pull off the reverse sweep and punch a ticket in the top 4 for the Sparks and Minos? Or will Opaux clutch it out in game number 5 and bring us to at least a sudden death situation? It is Tetris for Opaux, going for a nice little dirty there. And it looks like we're going to be pretty close here in the beginning. Both players replicating each other's same burn lines and scoring Tetrises also around the same spots. Jerpidude's going to push down for 1 point. And interestingly enough, Opaux set up that overhang. Does get an L piece followed by a J, so doesn't have to burn and builds up the stack to a healthy spot as well. Jerpidude has to take a triple there in the midst of a 25-piece drought. $119 now for Opaux, 106 for Jerpidude. And Opaux is going to be able to build up around a Tetris and a half lead. Opaux going to take a couple of safety skims. Kind of lost a lot of the advantage right there. But being safe here in the decider is important. There are no more chances. Your opponent has all the momentum. You don't want to make a mistake that could potentially be game-ending. And Jerpidude playing with a little bit of fire there. And still, oh, wow. Sacrificing to get that eyepiece over. But the question is, how long is the stack going to be unscorable from? Is it going to be enough time for Opaux to generate, some kind of substantial lead? By substantial, I mean like 1 or 2 Tetrises. There's one Tetris for Opaux, can try and grab another. Focusing on not really taking too many burns. There it is, another Tetris for Opaux. So in the lead by 3.5 Tetrises, just about, or 3 Tetrises actually. A Tetris over there for Opaux, 285, pardon me, to 212. Jerpidude's gotten the board under control and is in a very comfortable scoring position here. So far, Opaux has been playing this pre-transition a bit more efficient than Jerpidude. Nice little double Tetris over there for Opaux. Jerpidude's getting great pieces too. And Jerpidude actually running into a drought here. The eyepiece doesn't come soon. That's actually going to solidify a 90,000 point lead for Opaux, almost a 100,000 point lead. Jerpidude had to do a lot of burns there, and Opaux not going for the T-piece adjustment. Just going to take his time getting Tetris ready. And, so far, this play style has, or rather the stacking style has been working out very well for Opaux. Unfortunately, is long bar dependent right there in column 6. Could convert the dependency, but is not needed. Eyepiece does come, so no conversion is needed, but oh, Jerpidude missing that spin. And a really tough combination of S pieces right there. And that hole is just in one of the most tedious spots ever. So Jerpidude has to burn so many lines in order just to compensate for those pieces. And now Jerpidude finally in a position where he can't, no, just gonna burn it all the way down. Transition is looming. We have around 20 lines left to go till transition. Jerpidude now trailing by a whopping 150,000 points. Opaux just playing very nice and disciplined. 543 to now 392. Jerpidude hits that spin. Very important. Opaux now needs a J piece. Gets the J piece. Can try and grab 3 more Tetrises or 2 with some safer play. Jerpidude's trying to go for all 4 here. There's 1. Can burn no more lines if he wants all 4. There's 2. Opaux has to burn. And, oh no. Oh, wait, that was a great placement on the O there. Transition is looming. We run into it for 2 more lines for Opaux. Jerpidude's going to transition at 469. Opaux transitions at 597. 128,000 point lead at transition, but we are just under halfway there. We still got a full post to be played out, and this is going to be a little bit tricky. Opaux is going to be forced to take some burns after this. I guess an eyepiece that's going to help out a lot. And Opaux is actually not going to reset the stack. Is going to build on top of this. Going to take a couple more burns. Jerpidude not in a position to score. Stack is in a manageable position. Not the most friendly, but definitely manageable. And just like that, Jerpidude well is open. Tetris ready, waiting on the long bar. And there it is. Tetris for Jerpidude. 529 to now 639. 110,000 point lead for Opaux. Not really able to score too many Tetrises. But Jerpidude, professional at sacrificing here. Just trying to do everything to score. Oh, that hang. That could be a little bit of a complication as Opaux still not able to score any Tetrises. Long bar dependent in 2 various places. Fills in 1 dependency with another piece. Jerpidude now closes the gap to only 84,000. 657 and now 598. Another Tetris for Opaux, so finally able to score Tetris. The lead has dropped to now only 61,000. Jerpidude is back in this, only down by 2 Tetrises at this level. There's a Tetris for Opaux, trying to push the lead back up. Jerpidude sets up a beautiful delay burn with that S-flat there. Knocks down another Tetris, but so does Opaux. 748 to now 660. Opaux now knocks down another Tetris, but Jerpidude counters, not allowing Opaux to build a lead. Just all those levels Opaux spent burning allowed Jerpidude to bring the lead and cut it down in half, essentially. But Opaux has been playing phenomenal. What an amazing level 24 from Opaux. Another Tetris. Jerpidude has to take a split double, so some separation has been generated. Opaux is now Tetris ready. Jerpidude's in trouble, having to take a couple of burns, and these burns could amount quickly. Now these Tetrises are worth more than 30,000 points apiece, as Opaux knocks down another couple of Tetrises here on level 25. Absolutely stellar. And just like that, Opaux is back up to 174,000 point lead. However, the game is not over. Both of these players can play 29. We're running into our last chapter. Jerpidude trying to survive here. Opaux needs to get that piece over to the left. Okay, very crucial right there. Both players are up high on the stack. Jerpidude is in a safer position. Opaux opens up the well. Tetris ready. Jerpidude knocks down a dirty Tetris. Opaux still holding out for this long bar. Gonna take the safety triple. Jerpidude's down at the bottom, but a Tetris for Opaux. 170,000 point lead. 3 Tetrises remain here on level 8 or level 28. But a couple of rough T pieces. Opaux is gonna be forced to do some compromisation here. Needs to be careful. We are running out of time. Has to get the board set up for an ideal. Oh, the hang for Jerpidude on the left-hand side. Is that lethal? Oh my gosh, Jerpidude gets the bar over, but he's not dead. He's not. Oh, Jerpidude knocks down a Tetris, hits the T-spin, but it's about done. Opaux can't do anything, but Jerpidude, there's nothing he can do. 1 line to burn till 29, and Opaux clutches out game number 5. We will be going to a sudden death. What a nail-biter of a game. This series is not over. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Classic Tetris Gauntlet event. We have the sudden death match, or one of them, between the Aux Cords and the Spark and Minos. Up first, we're going to have Dan V versus Jerpidude. Our later matches will be played later on throughout the day, but we'll deal with that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get them counted down to game number 1. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Very important here. This is the decider to end all deciders. The Aux Cords and the Spark and Minos are tied in this current set 2-2, but they're also tied in the series 1-1. Whoever wins this will advance to the top 4, or whoever wins the sudden death, to be more specific, will advance to the top 4 to face the number 1 seed, the Millionaires. With that, they unlock an opportunity to play 2 more total team matches this season, having to play you know, up against the Millionaires, and then depending on the outcome, either playing in the grand finals or, of course, playing in the third place match. But it's not only that, but there is a lot more to be proven. And ooh, I actually like the way that Dan decided to kind of approach that situation. It's definitely looking like a very uncomfortable one, but now has the opportunity and is going to be able to essentially bring us almost back into a tie position. Going for a really ambitious overhang here. Gonna go see. Dan not able to really do anything with that. So now Jerpidude is going to be able to kind of build up a lead here. Has the board for it, just needs the RNG. And by RNG, I mean an eyepiece. And there it is, Tetris with Jerpidude. $121,000 for Jerpidude, 83,000 for Dan. Dan still trying to have to do a little bit of burning here. Nothing serious. Was just waiting on that right piece. Finally opens up the well. Jerpidude now having to do some burning. This is actually an opportunity for Dan. This isn't a dangerous situation yet for Jerpidude. Yeah, only gonna have to burn that one line. The well is open, ready for a long bar to be received, and both players knock down a Tetris. Very uncomfortable kind of board over here for Jerpidude, and wow, that S piece is actually going to make things very painful. Jerpidude gonna have to go for this triple here. That kind of puts Dan back into a position to tie the game. With that, Tetris is gonna just be shy of, well, just a 1 point shy of half a single in the lead temporarily. $205 for make that $228 for Jerpidude, and oh, whoa, what an adjustment over there by Dan. Separated by half a single. This is insane. Nice little spin hit right there. And of course, Tetris ready, just waiting on the long bar here. There's Tetris for Dan. Might actually have a small opportunity. Is not going to burn to get Tetris ready just yet. And forced to take all these burns. But Jerpidude not with the cleanest of stacks. But Dan's also running into a drought, so can't capitalize. Sets up a delayed burn, a risky one at that. Dan is holding up the long bar, gonna take the safety double. Waiting on the long bar, takes another safety double into not one, but two Tetrises into the lead as Jerpidude cleans up and knocks down a Tetris, bringing us back into a tie game position. 310 to now 304. Oh, the 5 below adjustment from Dan. Dan is executing so many perfect adjustments. Gonna knock down another Tetris, go right back into the lead. Oh, nice TO adjustment as well. Both players are in full form here. T-Tuck over there for Jerpy. 355 to now 373. Separated by half a single now, but Dan potentially could have the pace lead. Is going to have to, no, not going to take any burns yet. Only going to take a single. What a way to persevere throughout that. Oh, the J adjustment for the S. Very well executed, but also some nice burns from Jerpidude as well. It's a nice way to open up the well. But, oh, Jerpidude not getting ideal pieces. Gonna cost a couple more burns, and this has allowed Dan to build up a 52,000 point lead. It's not something huge, but it is something. Both of these players have just been playing just so clean, very minimal misdrops, and they have been nailing these adjustments. Oh, another good adjustment over there for Dan for the O piece. Give that left side a better looking stack, and a Vitz from Jerpidude. What is going on here? Tetris for Jerpidude, 462 to now 495. And oh, Dan, eyepiece dependent. Jerpidude transitions at 508. Dan opens up the well, and actually that J piece is perfect. Gonna go for the flat burn. Another Tetris for Jerpidude. Dan transitions at 525. This is it. This could be the last game that either one of these players play this season. And oh no. Dan, okay, gets the eyepiece right there. Much needed. But not going to go for the triple. Going to take the double instead. Still is open to take a triple. Takes another double. Might be running headfirst into a drought here. Takes a split double into another single. Just burning the stack. Keeping the stack alive. Very nicely done. Tetris for Dan, but also Tetris for Jerpidude. 613 to 560. Dan now. Oh, Jerpidude with actually a really concerning misdrop. It's not going to be necessarily deadly, but it's going to prolong any progression of the score. But also Dan, there it is, Tetris for Dan. Dan also down by 34,000. Tetris ready as well. Slightly behind in lines. Another Tetris for Dan, bringing it back into a 9,000 point game. However, Jerpidude is cleaned up. Both players are on level 22. And oh, another misdrop for Jerpidude around the kind of like the same situation. Would love to get an L piece, help burn that out, but doesn't get the efficient solution is looking for. Oh, Jerpidude, if an L piece comes right now, this would be wonderful. There it is. There's a triple. Jerpidude cleans up, but now the lead is in Dan's favor. Dan is now at 650,000. But not quite getting ideal pieces. Just going to take for the triple and reset. 658 to now 670. Oh, the adjustment over there for Dan. Tetris ready now. Into a Tetris. Back into the lead. But Jerpidude is now Tetris ready. Holding out for the right pieces. Nice burns. Opens up the well. Dan goes for an S flat. And unfortunately, another S comes a bit too soon. So this is going to be a couple of prolonged digs for Dan. Nice burns. The well is open. Into a Tetris. Into the lead. 722 to now 705, but Jerpidude knocks down a Tetris, goes up to 735. 12,000 points is all that separates us right now. Dan might actually be converting for a left well. Left well is set up. Will it be scored though? Both players holding out for the long. Oh, the misdrop from Dan. Okay, there it is. Left well Tetris going to go for the flat T burn. Needs a specific set of pieces to get out of this in an efficient manner. And oh, the accidental rotation over there for Dan. Got it in the right position, but didn't quite get the right rotation. Jerpidude is now built up a 70,000 point lead. And Dan's just not getting good pieces. Another Tetris for Jerpidude, now up to a 100,000 point lead. 866 to now 770. Dan has now reset down at the bottom. Needs to get one more piece to... Okay, that's open. Knocks down a Tetris, so Jerpidude's not going to be able to extend the lead too much further from this point forward. But there's another Tetris for Jerpidude, 937 and now 807. 29 play is going to be necessary here for Dan if Dan wants to come out on top of this. Dan not quite Tetris ready, but is now. Jerpidude Tetris ready, knocks down a Tetris, 973. Dan looking for an L piece, gets an L piece, would love an I piece now. Running into a drought, holding out for the long bar, takes a double, into a Tetris. Down by 124,000, another Tetris for Dan, but a Tetris for Jerpidude. 124,000. There's the max out for Jerpidude. And Jerpidude goes to level 29, 1,045,000. And oh, okay, here it is. Dan has a 156,000 point chase down. Dan's 29 play has to be, it has to, all right, there's one Tetris. Needs 4 more. Dan needs to score 1,046,000. All right, sets up a delay burn. Getting pieces where they need to go. All Jerpidude can do is sit and watch. Good burn so far. That left side. Oh, okay, gets it over to the left. That was massive, but it's not over yet. Things are starting to get complicated. Oh, the hang, and oh no, Dan's gonna top out. Jerpidude takes game 1 of sudden death. The Sparks and Minos are one step away from pulling off the upset and going up against the Millionaires. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Classic Tetris Gauntlet Overdrive playoffs. Tonight, we are finishing sudden death between the Aux Cords and the Sparks and Minos. Match number 1 has already been played, and Jerpidude was able to defeat Dan, being probably one of the most insane and closest matches we've had in sudden death yet. But it's far from over because both of our next 2 players are ready to go. So let's go ahead and count them down. Can the player from the Aux Cords make a comeback and bring us to a decider to end all deciders? Or is the Sparks and Minos advancing to top 4? Let's go ahead and find out. So here it is. Game number 2 of sudden death. It all comes down on these 2 players. Rhubarb, of course, very instrumental in the Millionaires winning last season. And even though isn't on the Millionaires this season, actually has the potential to face his former team if he's able to win this game here and now. But in addition to that, we have Opaux on the left-hand side, the man who had built such a successful team last season and even had a moderately successful team this season. One of the best team captains in terms of just overall camaraderie that he shared with his teammates. It all comes down to this. Two very important players on their team. But to start things off, we have an incredibly close game. Opaux has burned one more line, make that... Oh, missing the spin there. Could actually try and convert this into a row 2. This is sudden death, so you do need to be weary of going for any kind of aggression. And speaking of aggression, Rhubarb's just going to burn this down. The stack was definitely looking not in a comfortable position. As a matter of fact, this drought is starting to hit hard. We are at the 25 piece mark, but Rhubarb managing to be very disciplined throughout that entire exchange. Knocks down a Tetris, surviving the drought. Now it's Opaux's turn. Gonna go ahead and set up a delay burn using that O piece. And now Opaux, 30 piece drought. And has to set up this delay burn. All right, gets the eyepiece and gets it over to the left. Very vital. It's going to just take a triple. And Rhubarb might have actually tried to go for the J-spin there. At least that's what I would have done. But this is going to cost Rhubarb some burn lines. And now Opaux is put in a position to... Actually, not quite. No, Rhubarb's going to get a dirty Tetris. Going to prevent Opaux from gaining any lead that easily. Nice rotation over there. Tetris for Opaux. And Rhubarb's going to knock one down as well. 246 to now 247. Opaux continuing to go strong here. 270 now 269. We're separated by half a single. This is almost exactly what we saw in the match between Dan V and Jerpidude for the first round of Sudden Death, where they were just back and forth between each other. But, ooh, S-piece is a little bit rough for Rhubarb. And this is going to be a prolonged dig. And, oh my gosh, the miss drop! Oh, no. Rhubarb can still survive. This is not going to be easy. Okay. Good pieces. Just bringing the stack down. All right, at this point, Rhubarb should be fine, but man, that was a scare. And reminder, this is sudden death. It is a best of one. There are no second chances. Okay, nice recognition right there for Opaux. Opens up the well, and it's set up and knocks down a Tetris. But Rhubarb getting hit with a drought, and a massive one at that. Not going to go for the triple. Okay, it's going to take the double. And holds out just long enough to knock down a Tetris. 370 to 315. What a game. And Rhubarb is continuing to stay up this high. This time does take the triple. Another Tetris for Rhubarb. And another Tetris for Rhubarb. Is quite ahead in line, so Opaux does have the advantage. But Rhubarb is raining on the Tetrises here. But Opaux is matching that same energy. There's another Tetris for Opaux. 463 to now 413. Rhubarb will transition within the next 10 burn lines. Whether he does that with 2 to 3 Tetrises, that's up to him and a little bit of RNG. But very tough game. Rhubarb has definitely shown some insane perseverance so far. There's another Tetris for Opaux. Rhubarb trying to score 2 more. There's 1. And looks like the pieces fall for a second one to try to be scored, but no, has to cover it up and build up a dependency, converted to actually just a standard well. Rhubarb transitions at 484. But this drought is hitting, but not hitting hard enough. So Rhubarb is going to survive. Clean board. Another quick 2 Tetrises for Rhubarb. 534 now. A full level ahead of Opaux, as Opaux is going to transition at 581. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Things could end right now, or we can be having one more game played out. 573 for Rhubarb, 582 for Opaux. Opaux looking for a way to just open this up. Has to take that burn, but it actually is going to resolve quite nicely. But Rhubarb is in trouble. All right, nice burns. Not going to try and go for the triple. Now finally gets it. Perfect pieces to burn out. And after a 23-piece drought, Rhubarb knocks down a Tetris 606 to now 611. But Opaux, on the other hand, that left side not necessarily looking completely accessible. But that eyepiece is going to bring this stack down. And hanging the eyepiece. It decides to actually go for it and gets it over. But Rhubarb has taken the lead now. 645 to now 642. Rhubarb is ahead by almost 2 levels. Opaux looking for the right piece. That's going to work out nicely. Good burns, but now Rhubarb knocks down a Tetris. 1 Tetris in the lead. Opaux now bringing the stack down. Open for the Tetris. Waiting on the long bar to come. Rhubarb experiencing some minor complications. Rhubarb goes for the Opaux goes for the single, follows up with another single and a double, and hangs the piece on the left, but the drought is hitting. Oh no, this drought could be massive. This could be it. Are the Aux Cords going to go home on this very moment? No, not yet. Opaux is determined. He is showing that he is a perseverant individual, and after a 36-piece drought, finally gets the long bar, but he hangs it on the left side. What is he going to do? He has to do something. He has to break it out. Okay, able to throw a piece over to the left. Look at this survival from Opaux. Not giving up yet. He's doing everything that he can. He's fighting for his team's tournament life here. Okay, that's a good piece. Needs to get it over. All right, nice. Oh, the hang. Oh, no. This could be it. Rhubarb tops out. There's nothing Opaux can do. The Sparks and Minos advance to top 4. Taking sudden death over the Aux Cords. A nail-biter of a game. The survival was almost there for Opaux. Almost did everything that was necessary. It just could not get the right pieces. Couldn't get that eyepiece over when it was a very critical moment. Trying to get good pieces. Might be trying to get set up. DMJ running into complications though. Oh, this could not be good for DMJ. Can only burn 1 line. Oh, accidental flip right there. Able to get the triple. Able to burn down 2 consecutive triples. Still 100,000 point lead. Still active opponent. Things aren't over here for Dan. Dan has to play up against an active opponent. Things are clean for DMJ. Both players now battling out here on 29. Dan down by 100,000 points at this point. Each Tetris can be worth almost 40,000 points, but Dan needs to get clean. He needs to bring the stack down. DMJ now starting to get a little bit uncomfortable, but able to get that piece all the way over to the left. Dan, very nicely done. Both players have reset down to the bottom. Oh no, Dan! All right, Dan gets the piece all the way over to the left. Nice, very nicely done over there by Dan. Still keeping hope alive, and that's going to be a triple. Not a Tetris, a triple